Sign the papers. That's all he says. No explanation. No eye contact. Just 3 words that shatter 18 months of marriage like cheap glass hitting concrete. I'm standing in our kitchen, still in my nightgown, barefoot on the cold marble floor. The divorce documents slide across the counter between us, smooth, deliberate, final. My fingers hover over them, trembling, but I can't make myself touch them. It's like touching them makes it real. Silas won't even look at me. His jaw is set, that muscle twitching near his temple the way it does when he's already made up his mind. His phone buzzes on the counter. Once, twice, 3 times. He glances at it, and something flickers across his face. Something that looks almost like guilt, but not quite enough to stop him. Silas, what is this? My voice cracks. I hate that it cracks. It's over, Lucy. He says it like he's reading a grocery list. My lawyer will contact yours. Your lawyer? I don't even have a... I stop myself. This is insane. Yesterday morning, he kissed my forehead before leaving for work. Yesterday, we talked about repainting the guest room. Yesterday, we were us. If you've ever had someone you love look right through you like you're already gone, you know this feeling. That hollow, falling sensation where your stomach used to be. His phone buzzes again. This time he picks it up, types something fast, and I see it. The smallest smile. Not for me. For whoever's on the other end of that screen. There's someone else, isn't there? He doesn't deny it. Doesn't confirm it either. Just straightens his tie, grabs his briefcase, and walks toward the door like I'm not even standing there falling apart. You'll be fine, Lucy, he says without turning around. You always find a way to decorate the ruins. The door clicks shut. The apartment goes silent, except for the rain starting to hit the windows, streaking down like the tears I refuse to let fall yet. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. I stare at those papers for 20 minutes, maybe longer. The ink is still sharp, black against white, his signature already there at the bottom, waiting for mine to make us strangers. My hand moves to my stomach without thinking. I've been nauseous for 2 weeks. Exhausted. Emotional. I thought it was stress from his late nights, his distance, the way he'd stopped touching me like he meant it. But what if it's not stress? What if there's something he doesn't know he's walking away from? Something that changes everything? I grab my keys. I need to know for sure before I sign anything. Before I let him erase us completely. But deep down, in that place where you know things before you're ready to admit them, I already know the answer. And it terrifies me more than his leaving ever could. Have you ever discovered something life-changing right when everything fell apart? Drop a like if you know that feeling, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The doctor's office smells like antiseptic and somebody else's anxiety. I'm sitting on the examination table, paper crinkling under me, staring at the wall while the doctor checks my chart. She's talking, but her words come through like I'm underwater. Congratulations. 10 weeks. Healthy. Prenatal vitamins. 10 weeks. I count backward in my head. That night after his business dinner, he came home late, smelling like whiskey and apologies. We fought about something stupid, his mother, maybe, or my work, and then we didn't fight anymore. We just held each other in the dark like we were both drowning. That was the last time he touched me like I mattered. Mrs. Duval, did you hear me? I snapped back. I'm sorry, what? You'll want to schedule your next appointment. And you should tell your husband, so he can. He doesn't need to know. The words come out harder than I mean them to. She blinks at me, confused but doesn't push. Smart woman. I drive home with the ultrasound photo in my purse. At every red light, I think about calling him. I imagine his voice softening. Imagine him saying he made a mistake. Imagine him choosing us over whoever she is. But when I finally dial his office, his secretary answers in that polished, fake sweet voice. Mr. Duval has relocated. Would you like his new number? Relocated? Yes, ma'am. He and his fiancée just moved to the penthouse downtown. Shall I connect you? Fiancé. The word hits me like a slap. I hang up without answering. If you've ever loved someone who replaced you before you even knew you were being erased, hit that subscribe button, because what I do next will shock you. I remember our beginning. 3 years ago, dancing barefoot in our first apartment because we couldn't afford furniture yet. He spun me around the empty living room, his hand warm on my back, and whispered, "You're my forever Lucy." Candlelight from dollar store candles. Cheap wine. Laughter that felt expensive. I thought forever meant something to him. I was wrong. Now I'm sitting in the parking lot of a clinic I'll never go back to, one hand on my stomach, making promises to someone who doesn't exist yet, someone he'll never meet. He doesn't need to know who you'll become, I whisper. My phone buzzes. A text from the lawyer he hired. Documents attached. Timeline. Demands. I delete it without reading past the first line. I fold the ultrasound photo in half, then in half again until it fits in my wallet behind my license. Hidden. Safe. Mine. And somewhere between the parking lot and home, I make a decision that will change everything. He thinks he gets to walk away clean. He thinks I'll just disappear into whatever small life he imagines for discarded wives. But he has no idea what I'm capable of building from the pieces he left behind. Have you ever had to become someone new because the old version got abandoned? Comment, still standing, if you've rebuilt yourself from scratch. 3 years earlier, I started Veil Interiors on my living room floor. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. The divorce went through fast when you don't fight it. He kept the penthouse, the cars, the life we built. I kept my maiden name and a bank account that made me nauseous every time I checked it. I was 6 months pregnant, showing now, designing other people's dream homes while living in a one-bedroom I could barely afford. My first client found me through a Craigslist ad I posted at 2 in the morning, half delirious from heartburn and desperation. She wanted her daughter's nursery redone. I showed up with fabric samples and a stomach I couldn't hide anymore. "When are you due?" she asked. 8 weeks. "And you're working?" "Every day until I can't." She hired me on the spot. Ira came early. 7 pounds, 6 ounces of screaming, perfect chaos. I named her after my grandmother. Strong, stubborn, unbreakable. Everything I needed to become. The hospital bracelet stayed on my wrist for 2 weeks because I was too scared to cut it off. Like maybe if I kept it on, I could prove to myself this was real. That I was somebody's mother now. That I couldn't afford to fall apart. I worked from my phone while she nursed. Sent emails between diaper changes. Sketched floor plans during her naps, my hand cramping, coffee going cold beside me. Some nights I'd fall asleep at my laptop and wake up with her tiny hand wrapped around my finger. If you know what it means to build something beautiful while everything else is falling apart, this story is for you. Stay with me. The business grew slowly. 1 referral became 2. 2 became 5. I learned to smile through client meetings even when I'd been up all night with a colicky baby. Learned to pitch concepts with spit up on my shoulder, hidden under a blazer I couldn't afford but bought anyway. 18 months in, I landed my first major contract. A luxury condo renovation downtown. The kind of project that could change everything. I showed up to sign the paperwork in my best dress, Ira with my neighbor, because I couldn't afford childcare yet. The client was late, so I waited in the lobby, rehearsing my presentation, trying not to look as desperate as I felt. When she walked in, I knew her immediately. Tall, blonde, wearing the kind of confidence that comes from never having to rebuild yourself from nothing. Marielle DuPont, the woman who'd been texting my husband while I signed divorce papers in my nightgown. She didn't recognize me at first. Why would she? I was just the ghost she'd replaced, the obstacle she'd cleared without ever knowing my name. "Ms. Vale." She extended her hand, all white teeth and expensive perfume. "Thank you for meeting me." I shook her hand and smiled. And somewhere behind that smile, I made a promise to myself that she'd never see coming. Ever had to work for the person who destroyed your life? Drop a like if you know the kind of strength. Marielle's penthouse is everything I used to dream about. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble counters, the kind of space that screams money without having to say a word. I walk through it with my measuring tape and tablet, taking notes, nodding while she talks about her vision. "I want it sophisticated but warm," she says, running her hand along the bare wall. "My fiancé travels constantly for work, so when he's home, I want it to feel like a sanctuary." "Your fiancé." She means my ex-husband, but I don't correct her. "Of course," I say instead. "I can definitely create that feeling." She shows me photos on her phone, inspiration shots from magazines. And there, buried in her camera roll, I see him. Silas. Older now, harder around the eyes, but still him. They're on a yacht somewhere tropical, his arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something outside the frame. I look away before she notices I'm staring. Over the next 6 weeks, I design her entire life. I pick out furniture that matches her aesthetic, curtains that filter light the way she likes it, art pieces that make her feel cultured. I listen to her talk about Silas. She calls him Si, which makes my stomach turn, and I smile and nod and pretend I'm happy for them. She has no idea who I am. No idea that every time she brags about their life together, she's twisting a knife into someone she doesn't even remember exists. But I'm learning things. Useful things. Like how she complains about money more than someone in a penthouse should. How she mentions debts her father left her, problems with her accounts, phone calls from lawyers she won't explain. If you've ever had to smile through your own heartbreak while helping someone else celebrate, you understand this kind of strength. Comment below. One afternoon, she gets a call while I'm installing light fixtures. She steps into the bedroom, but doesn't close the door all the way. I hear pieces, fragments. I told you, I'm handling it. Her voice is sharp now, nothing like the sugar-sweet tone she uses with me. He doesn't know. He'll never know what I took from him. I freeze on the ladder. Just give me 3 more months, she says. By then, it won't matter. The call ends. She comes back out, all smiles again like nothing happened. Sorry about that, she says. Family drama. No problem, I say. But my mind is racing. What did she take? From who? From Silas? I finish the installation, pack up my tools, and leave. But in my car, I sit for 10 minutes, staring at the building, replaying her words. He doesn't know. 3 more months. It won't matter. I pull out my phone and start digging. Public records, business filings, court documents. I've gotten good at research over the years. You have to when you're building something real. And what I find makes my blood run cold. Marielle DuPont isn't just in debt. She's drowning. Lawsuits from creditors, liens on properties, and somehow she's been using Silas's name, his accounts, his reputation to cover it all. He has no idea he's funding his own destruction. And neither does she know that the woman designing her dream home used to sleep in the bed she stole. When you discover the person who hurt you is about to get exactly what they deserve, it's hard not to watch. Stay tuned, because karma is just getting started. The news breaks on a Wednesday morning. I'm dropping Ira off at preschool when my phone explodes with notifications. Headlines, breaking news alerts, social media chaos. Business mogul Silas Duval faces fraud charges. Empire collapses overnight. Read every article twice. The details are brutal. Embezzlement, false financial statements, assets seized. And at the center of it all, Marielle DuPont, his fiancée, his partner, the woman who'd been bleeding him dry for 2 years while smiling in his face. She's gone, vanished, left him holding the bag for crimes she committed using his name. I should feel triumphant, vindicated, something, but instead I just feel empty. That night, I watch his press conference on TV. He looks destroyed, gray around the edges. His lawyer does most of the talking while Silas sits there, staring at nothing, looking like a man who finally realized he bet everything on the wrong person. The camera flashes are relentless. Reporters scream questions. His company's stock crashes in real time, numbers scrolling across the bottom of the screen like a countdown to the end. If revenge was supposed to feel good, someone forgot to tell my heart. Because watching him fall apart doesn't fix what he broke in me. I turn off the TV. Ira's asleep on the couch beside me, her small body curled against my side. She looks like him around the eyes. I've spent 4 years pretending not to notice. My assistant calls the next morning, breathless. Lucy, you need to see this. Now. She sends me a file. Financial documents, investment portfolios, and buried in the paperwork, a name I recognize immediately. One of our biggest investors, the silent partner who'd been funding Vail Interior's expansion for the last 18 months, is a shell company. A shell company that traces back to Duval Enterprises. Which means for over a year, without knowing it, Silas has been funding my rise while destroying his own empire. I've been buying out properties his failed firm used to own, hiring his former clients, building my success on the bones of his collapse. And I never even knew. My hands shake as I close the file. Ms. Vale. My assistant's voice is quiet. What do you want me to do? I don't answer right away. Can't answer. Because I'm realizing something terrifying. I didn't just survive him leaving. I built an empire in his shadow without even trying. While he was falling, I was rising. While he was losing everything, I was becoming everything he never believed I could be. The irony is suffocating. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. Ms. Vale. A woman's voice. Professional. Calm. This is St. Kellen's Hospital. We have a patient here requesting to see you. He's listed you as next of kin. My throat goes dry. Who? Mr. Silas Duval. He's asking for you specifically. He says it's urgent. When the person who broke you shows up broken themselves, begging for help, what do? Comment your answer, because what happens next will leave you speechless. While Silas's world burned, mine grew in the shadows. Vale Interiors became the Vale Group. Not overnight, not with fanfare, just steady, deliberate expansion that nobody saw coming because nobody was watching the divorced wife who was supposed to disappear. I opened offices in 3 cities, hired a team of 30, landed contracts with hotels, corporations, politicians, private residences. Every project I touched turned profitable. Every risk I took paid off. And I did it all while raising a daughter who didn't know her father's name. The acquisition started small. A building here, a property there, all through shell companies and proxy investors. I learned the game by watching Silas play for years. The difference was I played it better. His former clients came to me without me even asking. They'd heard I was good, discreet, reliable, everything he'd stopped being. I never mentioned our connection, never used his name. I didn't need to. My reputation built itself. Late nights became my normal. Ira would fall asleep on my office couch while I finalized contracts. I'd carry her to the car at midnight, her head on my shoulder, and promise her that someday this would all make sense. That someday she'd understand why mommy worked so hard. If you've ever built something from nothing while the world counted you out, you know this grind. Drop a like for every sleepless night that paid off. By year 5, I quietly purchased 7 properties Duval Enterprises used to own. By year 7, 15, I wasn't doing it for revenge. I was doing it because they were good investments. Because I saw value where others saw risk. Because I become exactly what he never believed I could be. The Vale Group logo went up on a skyscraper downtown. 40 stories of glass and steel with my name at the top. I stood in the lobby on opening day, Ira holding my hand, and felt nothing but exhausted relief. Is this ours, Mommy? She asked. Yes, baby. This is ours. She squeezed my fingers. It's pretty. Pretty didn't cover it. It was proof. Evidence that I'd survived his leaving and built something he could never touch. My lawyer called that afternoon with news that made my stomach drop. Lucy, you need to know something about that trust fund you set up for Ira. What about it? One of the assets in there traces back to Duval's remaining estate. Legally, it's been under her name for 3 years. If his creditors find out, they won't, I said. But if they do, they won't. Because I've been 10 steps ahead the entire time. Every move calculated. Every document airtight. I protected my daughter's future while dismantling his empire piece by piece, and nobody could prove I'd done anything wrong. Because I hadn't. I'd just been smarter. My phone buzzed. St. Kellen's Hospital. Again. 3rd call this week. I'd been ignoring them. But something in me finally cracked. Ms. Vale, the nurse said when I answered. Mr. Duval's condition is worsening. He's asking for you. Please. I hung up. Stare at my reflection in the window. 40 stories up, looking down at a city that used to terrify me. 18 years. That's how long I told myself I'd build before anyone knew what I'd become. The countdown was over. When the person who destroyed you is dying and calling your name, do you answer? Stay with us, because this decision changes everything. St. Kellen's Hospital smells like disinfectant and regret. I tell myself, I'm not going to see him. I tell myself this 100 times on the drive over. But my hands turn the steering wheel anyway, pull into the parking garage, carry me through sliding doors I should have walked away from. The nurse leads me to a private room. Fourth floor. Into the hall. Quiet except for the beeping machines and my heartbeat trying to escape my chest. He's smaller than I remember. Grayer. Worn down to something fragile and unfamiliar. When he sees me, his eyes fill up. Lucy. I don't sit. Don't move closer. Just stand near the door with my arms crossed, because if I soften even slightly, I'll break. Why am I here, Silas? He coughs. A nurse adjusts something on his fore. He waves her away. Because I'm dying, he says. And I needed to see you before I go. You're not my responsibility. I know. His voice cracks. I know I don't deserve this. Any of this. But I need you to hear something. I should leave. Every instinct screams at me to walk away. But my feet won't move. If you've ever faced the person who broke you and realized they're already broken themselves, you understand this feeling. Comment below if you've been here. You were the only real thing I ever had. He whispers. Marielle, the business, all of it, it was fake. Built on lies. But you, he stops, breathes hard, continues. You were real. And I threw you away like you were nothing. I was nothing to you. I say. You made that clear. I was wrong. Being wrong doesn't fix what you did. I know. Tears stream down his face now. Real ones. Not manipulation. Just honest, ugly grief. I know I can't fix it. Can't take it back. But I need you to know I'm sorry. That you deserve better. That leaving you was the worst mistake I ever made. The word should feel good. Vindicating. Powerful. It just feels sad. I watch him cry and feel absolutely nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just a vast, hollow space where love used to live. That's when I realize I've already won. Not because he's suffering, but because I stopped caring whether he did. There's something else, he says. Something you need to know. I don't need anything from you. It's about our daughter. The room tilts. What? He looks at me, confused now. Your daughter. The one you had after we divorced. I heard you named her Ira. My blood turns to ice. How do you know about her? I've known for years. My lawyer found out during the divorce proceedings. He coughs again, harder this time. I should have reached out. Should have been there. But I was a coward. And now I'm trying to make it right. You can't. I can try. He reaches for an envelope on the table beside him. His hands shake. This is for her. For both of you. I don't take it. Please, he says. Just read it. You don't have to forgive me. Don't have to do anything. But read it. Against every instinct, I take the envelope. It's heavy. Official looking. What is this? Everything I have left, he says. It's already in her name. Legally. Protected. Marielle can't touch it. Creditors can't touch it. It's yours. The machines beep steady beside him. Outside, the city moves on, uncaring. When a man who abandoned you gives you everything he has left, is it a gift or a curse? The answer will shock you. Keep watching. I don't open the envelope for 3 days. It sits on my kitchen counter, mocking me, tempting me. Every time I walk past it, I think about throwing it away, burning it, pretending he never gave it to me. But I can't. On the 4th morning, while Ira's at school, I finally open it. Inside are legal documents, property deeds, bank statements, investment portfolios. Everything he has left after Marielle destroyed him. And it's more than I expected. Not millions, but enough to matter. Enough to change things.
And it's all in Ira's name. Has been for months, apparently. Transferred through a trust one helped him set up years ago when I was still using my maiden name for side projects. He'd hidden it there, protected it, made sure that even if his empire collapsed, his daughter would have something. Our daughter. The daughter he never met, never held, never even asked about until 3 days ago when he was dying in a hospital bed. I sit at my kitchen table, surrounded by papers, and laugh. It's not a happy sound. It's the kind of laugh that happens when irony becomes unbearable. He'd been supporting us for years without knowing it. I'd been building my empire on the skeleton of his. And now he was giving us everything left, thinking it was some grand gesture. If you've ever realized that the person who hurt you has been carrying guilt longer than you've been carrying anger, hit that subscribe button. This story isn't over. The funeral invitation arrives 2 days later. Embossed, formal, cold. You are invited to celebrate the life of Silas Alexander Duval. Celebrate. Like his life was something worth throwing a party for. I RSVP anyway. Not because I owe him, but because I need to see it end. I need to watch them lower him into the ground so I can finally close this chapter. Ira asks why I'm wearing black. Someone I used to know passed away. I say, were they nice? I pause. Think about how to answer honestly. Once, maybe, a long time ago, she hugs me without me asking. 10 years old and already wiser than I was at 30. It's okay to be sad, Mommy. But I'm not sad. That's the thing. I'm just done. I look at the papers one more time before putting them away. Everything he owned, now mine. Everything he built, now dust. Everything he destroyed, now rebuilt. The countdown I'd set 18 years ago had finally reached zero. Once broken, now building. Once erased, now eternal. I'd survived him, outlasted him, outgrew him in every way that mattered. And the best part? He knew it. In those final days, lying in that hospital bed, he knew exactly what I'd become without him. That knowledge was better than any revenge I could have planned. My phone rings. The hospital again. But this time it's different. Ms. Vale, I'm sorry to inform you that Mr. Duval passed away this morning. He left specific instructions that you should have this. Another envelope. Another mystery. Another piece of him trying to reach me from beyond the grave. What is it? I asked. A letter. Handwritten. He wrote it yesterday. Said you'd understand when you read it. Some endings are just beginnings in disguise. What he wrote in that letter will change everything. Stay tuned for the final chapter. The funeral is exactly what I expected. Expensive. Impersonal. Full of people who barely knew him, pretending they'll miss him forever. I arrive in a black suit. Simple. Elegant. No jewelry except the watch I bought myself after my first major deal. Vale Group cars line the street outside the cathedral. I didn't plan that, but my team showed up anyway. Power moved by accident. The best kind. Inside, people turn when I walk in. Whispers follow me down the aisle. They know who I am now. The ex-wife who became more successful than he ever was. The woman who survived his betrayal and built an empire in the aftermath. I walk past them all like they're invisible. Ira's beside me. She insisted on coming once she found out who the funeral was for. He was my father, she said this morning. I should say goodbye even if I never said hello. 10 years old. Already braver than I'll ever be. Marielle's near the front. Try to look devastated. Her makeup's running. Her hands shake. Someone must have told her I'd be here, because when our eyes meet, she freezes. I don't acknowledge her. Don't even slow down. Just keep walking until I reach the casket. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The best revenge isn't cruelty. It's indifference. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this. I place white roses on his casket. Not because I forgive him, but because peace is a better ending than hate. The service is long, boring, full of eulogies from business partners who abandoned him the second his empire fell. Nobody mentions Marielle. Nobody mentions me. They talk about him like he was some tragic hero instead of a man who made choices that destroyed everyone around him. After the burial, people linger. Networking at a graveyard. It's almost funny. The lawyer finds me near my car. Ms. Vale, we need to discuss the estate. I already have the documents. There's more. Much more. Your daughter's name is on everything he left. The properties, the remaining accounts, even his shares in companies that are still solvent. Legally, she's his primary heir. I knew this, but hearing it out loud still feels surreal. And Marielle gets nothing. He changed everything before he died. Made sure she couldn't touch any of it. Sweet, quiet karma. The universe balancing itself without me lifting a finger. Ira tugs my hand. Can we go home now? Yeah, baby. We can go home. As we drive away, I watch the cathedral shrink in my rearview mirror. All those people, all that performance, all that grief for a man who spent his last years realizing he'd bet everything on the wrong person. My phone buzzes. A text from my assistant. New project inquiry. High profile. They're requesting you specifically. Business doesn't stop for funerals. Life doesn't pause for closure. I text back. Schedule it for Monday. Ira falls asleep in the back seat. I glance at her in the mirror. His eyes, my strength, our future. Once discarded, now divine. Once abandoned, now unbreakable. I'd spent 18 years building something he could never take from me. And now, with him gone, I finally understood the difference between winning and surviving. I'd done both. When you realize you've already won before the game even ended, that's power. One chapter left. The conclusion will leave you breathless. The Vale Foundation opens on a Tuesday morning in spring. It's a building I bought 2 years ago and spent 18 months renovating. Not for profit, for purpose. A place where women starting over can learn design, business, job skills. Where single mothers can find childcare while they rebuild. Where people who've been discarded can become undeniable. I stand in the lobby with Ira beside me. She's 14 now, taller than me, already sketching her own designs, planning her own future. We hang a framed sketch on the wall. The first one I ever drew back when I was designing nurseries for my living room floor, pregnant and alone and terrified. This is where it started. I tell her. This is where we came from. She studies it quietly. It's kind of messy. The best things always are. My new office is on the top floor of a tower overlooking the city. 2 floors above, where Silas's firm used to be. I didn't plan that either. It just happened. The universe giving me a view of everything I'd outlasted. If you know what it's like to rise without permission, comment, I build from the ashes. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Some days, I still think about him. About the man I loved who became a stranger. About the divorce papers on marble counters and the baby he never knew. About the choices that led us to such different endings. But I don't think about him with anger anymore. Just with the kind of distant curiosity you have for a chapter you've already closed. My phone buzzes. Marielle's name flashes on the screen. She's called 17 times in the past month. Iva insert 0. I turn it face down. Some people deserve your attention. Some people deserve your silence. Knowing the difference is its own kind of power. Ira is graduating early. Starting college next year with a full scholarship she earned herself. She wants to study architecture and design. Wants to build things that last. Like you did, Mom, she said last week. Like I did. Past tense. But I'm not done building. Not even close. The foundation's first class starts tomorrow. 30 women. 30 stories. 30 chances to turn ruins into something remarkable. I walk through the space one last time before we open, checking details, adjusting lighting, making sure everything's perfect. Not because it has to be, but because I finally can. A reporter asked me last month how it feels to be more successful than my ex-husband ever was. I smiled and said, I wouldn't know. I stopped comparing myself to him years ago. That was the truth. The real victory wasn't surpassing him. It was forgetting to keep score. Once broken, now building. Once erased, now eternal. He thought he left me with ruins. But I turned them into a skyline. And every light in every window of every building I've touched is proof that being underestimated is just another word for opportunity. Ira finds me standing by the window. You okay, Mom? Yeah, baby. I'm okay. More than okay. I'm free. Free from needing his apology. Free from wanting his recognition. Free from carrying the weight of what he did to me. I built this life. Not in spite of him leaving. Not because of his betrayal. Just because I could. Because I refused to let his choices define my ending. And that is the kind of power nobody can take from you. The sun sets over the city. My city now. Ours. I close my eyes and breathe. Once abandoned. Now unbreakable. If this story moved you, subscribe and turn on notifications. We share real stories of real strength every week. Drop I build from the ashes in the comments to inspire someone else who needs to hear this today. Your story matters. Your strength matters. And we can't wait to hear from you. Welcome to the family.